Hello everyone. Today I'm going to harvest a bunch of the herbs from my container garden, and I'm going to show you how I harvest and how I dry them. But also this is going to be like my first real harvest of my herbs. I've grabbed some stems here and there, but now they are large enough where I think I'm going to have a really good harvest. So let me give you an update on how the herbs are doing, which ones I have, and then I'll show you how I harvest them. It's super simple. But first, let me do a scan of the front deck, because even though I just did the July garden tour a few weeks ago, I swear things have almost doubled in size for some of my plants, which tends to happen in July. So things are looking great. All of the herbs that I grow are on the front deck, and the majority of them are in this section right here. So as far as how I grow the herbs in these pots, I'm using 8-inch terracotta pots for each of them. Some of them could definitely use larger pots and be happy about it, but this is the space I'm giving them in my small garden. And I have every single pot set up to drip. I also have a label on them so I remember what they are. However, some of them have grown so much I will need to dig to find the label. So let me show you what I have over here. First up, we have lemon thyme. We have garlic chives. In the middle on the top, we have basil mint, then we have leeks, we have regular thyme. Down below the regular thyme is parsley. Then this one here is, are you chocolate mint? Yes, this one is the chocolate mint. We have pineapple sage. We have lemon balm. Oregano. I think I missed this row. I have apple mint here. Are you orange mint? I think so. Orange mint. Strawberry mint. And this one's definitely the most different of the mints, the strawberry mint. The leaves are smaller. The growth habit is just a little bit different, so I think that's really interesting. Then coming over here, we have rosemary there in the back. We have the lemon bergamot mint here. We have the pineapple mint, and then we have banana mint. And then I also have growing in this 30-gallon grow bag with my tomato plant. Well, I have a smaller boxwood basil there, and then I have what has become a pretty large lemon basil plant that I'm going to harvest from. And these smell, it smells so good. Some of these I'm going to use fresh, and some I'm planning to use dry. And then let me tell you about this plant and why I feel a little bit dumb. So this right here was planted with strawberries last year that I then left out over winter. The strawberries started to grow back. I actually harvested at least a handful of strawberries off of the plants this spring, and then some new leaves started to grow. So I was like, you know what? Maybe that's the strawberry growing. Even though the leaves were very different, but my brain, I think, was just so set on knowing strawberries were in here, knowing I'd harvested strawberries off of the plant, that I just assumed it was still strawberries. And then in the July garden tour, someone was like, I think that might be mint. And that was when it kind of clicked in my brain that the leaves that looked very different probably weren't actually strawberry leaves. So I actually saw that comment when we were in Cape Cod, and I was like, as soon as I get home, I need to go check that plant. And I did. And by rubbing the leaves and sniffing my fingers, I can tell this is lemon balm. How it got in this container, I have absolutely no idea. I'm assuming it must have happened this year, not last year, because again, like I said, the strawberry plants started to grow back from last year that I overwintered, harvested strawberries. I don't know what happened. I didn't plant any lemon balm in here. I didn't plant anything else in here. I don't think the lemon balm could have flowered and gone to seed, because I think I would have known, like I would have noticed that. So I don't know what happened, but I now have a giant container of lemon balm, which at least I like lemon balm, so that's lucky. So I will be harvesting some of this, but now I just have so much, and this was definitely not my intention at all. Maybe I need to look up some good, I'm sure there's some good dessert recipes with lemon balm, because typically I'll use it for tea or infused water, but now I have a lot. So this is, I mean, again, I don't know what happened, so I don't know to say like, is this one plant or how large can they get, but this is what it's like in a, I'd say it's a 12-inch diameter container. So No more strawberries. Okay, so let's first talk about when to harvest. So in terms of time of day, it is recommended to harvest early in the morning because the heat of the sun can impact the flavor of the herb. So if you can do it in the morning, that's great. However, I do it whenever I have the time because my schedule doesn't always align with the what's best for the garden schedule. So right now it is about 4:30. It is overcast. It's starting to rain a little bit, even though it wasn't supposed to rain yet. So I'm gonna harvest now because that's what works for me. For the size of the herb and when to start harvesting, usually I'll wait till it's at least 6 inches tall before I start harvesting off the plant, unless I just want to grab a few leaves, just so it has some size on it. And most of these I got from the store as starts. They were relatively small. They've grown a lot so far this season. So this is my chocolate mint. There are definitely a lot of stems here that are taller than 6 inches. So this is a good time for me to go in and harvest a good amount off of this plant. It also smells so good just from here. So in terms of how much to harvest off of the plant, the best practice is don't take more than 1/3 of the plant off at a time, just so there's enough of the plant left for it to continue to grow. However, I cut back the apple mint because it had powdery mildew all the way and it grew back just fine. The parsley, all of it was eaten by the caterpillars. It grew back just fine. So I'm just saying in my experience, I have cut things all the way back and they've come back, but just for best practices, don't take too much of the plant off when you are harvesting. Now, the different herbs that I have, there's really two main ways that you can harvest. For this mint, if I want to keep the plant growing and getting bushier, similar to harvesting a cut flower like a zinnia, I will harvest above a leaf node where there are 2 sets of leaves coming off. So actually, let me zoom you in closer so you can see what this looks like. So if we look at this stem here, if I come down and I cut right above here, there are 2, I know they are small, but there are 2 little stems coming off from the leaf node. So these are going to form 2 additional stems when I cut this 1 stem off. The other way I harvest some of my herbs like the leeks or the chives is just all the way down to the stem. Same thing with the rosemary. I'll take that all the way back to the stem and cut off the entire stem. You can do that here if you want as well. I might do that for some of these that are kind of growing a little bit wild out of the pot, but those are the 2 main ways that I really choose where to cut on my plant, either above a leaf node so that it gets bushier or all the way back to the ground for that stem. So now let's go ahead and harvest this chocolate mint. I'm going to do this one on the table, but typically because everything is set up to drip, I just do it at the pots because I don't want to have to take out the drip, put it all back in. So we'll do this one here, I will do the rest, and then I will show you the next steps when I take it all inside. So like I said, the ones that are growing a bit wild, I'm taking all the way back, and some where I want to make the plant a little bit bushier, I'm just cutting above a leaf node. I like to have some length on these because I do hang them to dry, which I'll show you, and it's just much easier to do when you have a longer stem. So let's take off some of these longer ones. This one I'm cutting above a leaf node there. This one's growing a bit wild, so let's take this one all the way back. This one I'll do above a leaf node. Maybe just one more here above a leaf node. So now I have a handful here of my chocolate mint. Next I'm going to grab some apple mint because this one is looking pretty large and I think I want to make some tea. So I'm going to grab a few down all the way at the bottom. I'm going to grab a few just above the leaf node to make it continue to bush out. And again, this is the one that I did cut all the way back and it grew back. I mean, mint is pretty hard to kill anyway. So again, have I done it? Yes. Would I recommend doing it? Probably not, just to be safe. I'm going to grab some orange mint and I'm also going to cut off these runners just because I don't want it to spread into a pot next door and start growing. But harvesting this one the same way. So coming above some of the leaf nodes here. And again, not really taking off more than 1/3 of the plant at a time. This is also a good time to check for any pests. I don't see any. It's been, pest-wise, it's been okay so far this season. Powdery mildew, because it's been so hot and humid so early has come much earlier than it normally does. Well, it started to rain, even though the weather app said it wasn't supposed to happen yet. So I did end up grabbing chocolate mint, apple mint, orange mint. I got the leek and the chives. I will have to grab the rest later, but let me talk about some next steps. So first would be washing the herbs. Now, I don't use any chemicals or pesticides on my herbs, so I know that from that perspective they're clean, but you know, any dirt, any caterpillar poop that might be on them, I will want to wash off. However, even though it's raining now, we also had a very, very heavy rainstorm this morning. So I know that the leaves, at least that way, got washed. If that hadn't happened, I will just take a hose and either spray the herbs while they're on the plant or spray the leaves after I harvest them off. I will also go through and remove any leaves that are like yellowing or just don't look that great. So there's a few on the pineapple mint that I want to take off. I will also check for any bugs. And then after they've been cleaned, checked for bugs and any of the damaged leaves removed, that is when I will label them. Because even if I know what well, for example, like rosemary, I know what that is. I don't really have anything else that looks similar to it. I do have a lot of mints, and even though they might look a little bit different from each other, just to be safe, especially when they're dry and they all kind of look the same, I want to have a label so I know what it is. Because sometimes when I do like a little sniff test, I can't even necessarily tell, especially when I have a lot that are lemon or citrusy flavored. So what I use are these tags, either the same tags that I use for my giveaway bouquets, and I will simply write what it is on the label. So I already did one for chocolate, apple, and orange. So this is my label for my pineapple mint. And to dry my herbs, I just hang them upside down. That can take a couple of weeks. You'll want to hang them there until the leaves feel crispy and dry, like there's no more flexibility in the leaves at all. You can use a dehydrator if you want to speed up the process. You can also do your oven at the lowest speed. I've done that a few times. I don't have a dehydrator. I am a person who, unless I'm going to use something a lot, like I'd rather just hang it to dry for a few weeks if I don't really need it immediately. And if I do, I'll use my oven. So I don't know. I go back and forth on if I really want a dehydrator because I just don't know if I'm going to use it enough. So far, haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. But I do plan to hang all these to dry along with my other herbs that are currently drying. So what I do after I get the label is I bundle the same type of herb together. So this is all of the pineapple mint. And then I just got this little contraption on Amazon. So I use twine all the time in the garden. I didn't expect twine to be something I use as often as I do as a gardener, but I use it all the time. And this, I don't even know what to call it, like a holder. So this holder was from Amazon. It came with the scissors. It came with this twine, but I can replace it with more twine once this is used up. But this is a lot easier to keep track of it and to quickly grab some twine when I need it. So I will take some twine. I usually don't need that much. Do a little snip. And then let's move this out of the way so you can see what I do. First thing is I will bundle this together and I will tie it once like that. So I just tie it once. And then I find that to keep it tighter, because as the herbs dry, the stems will get smaller. A lot of people use rubber bands because it does have that elasticity. What I find helps is I've already done the one tie around. I will twist the twine around the stems, and then I will do a second tie, and that holds it in place. And I've never had any of my herbs fall out using this method. So that is my bundle of pineapple mint. I will then take my tag, stick the twine through the hole in the tag, and then this is what I'm going to hang. So let me bundle up the other three, and I will show you where I hang them to dry. I think this is one I can always identify with a sniff test because I don't really have anything else that smells like chocolate mint. But yeah, the citrus ones are just really hard to identify once they're all dried. So wrap around, do another tie, really tight, slide this through. Apple mint next. And once these are dry, I store them in glass jars and I don't crush up the stems. That's a mistake I made when I first started, is I would immediately crush up the stems and then store them in the jar for however long. but that releases some of the flavors. So I will either just remove the leaves whole. I will typically do that with mint where the leaves are larger, or if they're smaller, like on my thyme, then in that case, I will just leave the stem on and not pull off any of the leaves from the stem until I'm ready to use it. So don't crush up the leaves until the exact moment that you want to use the herbs. All right, orange mint is the last one. This smells so good. I haven't used this yet in tea. I did some of the apple, some of the strawberry. I've grown chocolate for years, so I know what that tastes like. I'm very excited for the orange mint. Now, as far as where to dry your herbs, really anywhere that's out of direct sunlight works the best. I know a lot of people will just hang them to dry in a closet. Pretty much anything that's room temperature should also be fine. I wouldn't do it anywhere that's super hot or super cold. And as long as you have a place to hang it upside down, then you're good to go. But again, if you want to speed up the process, dehydrator or your oven. So now I have my 4 bundles here. And let me go show you where I hang these because this is probably one of my favorite parts. So when we repainted this room, I was trying to think of creative ways to dry my herbs or how to get more storage space to dry my herbs. And this is what I came up with. So these are curtain rods just off of Amazon. They're gold, they're really pretty, and they just hang on my wall. And I use it to hang my herbs to dry and my flowers to dry. There are 3 here. They're 18 inches apart, and I do run out of space. So I tend to take the herbs off as soon as they're dry and then store them in their jars. The flowers, though, I like to leave for a while just because they look so pretty. So until I start to use these in crafts, which is usually not until the garden season is over, they hang here, and it just kind of works like a piece of art. So this is how easy it is. Let me push some of these over, but I just wrap this around, wrap the twine around the curtain rod, and I just tie it once. I don't do a lot of knots because I often will like move things around, or when I want to take it off, it's easier just to do it if I don't have it tied in a knot, but that's it. And then it's gonna hang there with the rest of these. So this is pineapple sage. It does feel pretty crispy. I might be able to remove these soon. And I have an orange mint here that's already dried. So definitely making a tea with this ASAP. All the herbs have been hung. So here's what it is looking like now. So like I said, I'm gonna take the dried ones off. I'll store those, and then I will just continue harvesting and drying herbs throughout the rest of the season. So I just went to grab a jar to show you what I use to store my herbs, and I can't find any. But I feel like I had extra. Like I don't think I remember using them all up last year because I do still have some herbs from last year in them. So anyway, I will insert a video of them here, of the ones that I currently have. I guess I need to get some more, and then I will link them down below as well. But this is a really simple process. Again, just harvesting, hanging to dry, and then storing them until it's ready to use. So I love growing herbs. They seem like they're one of the easiest plants to grow. I feel like I have the fewest issues with them compared to other plants in the garden. And it's a great reminder, once the season is over, you still have the herbs that you're using to remind you of the season that just happened. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.